When the new Superman trailer premiered a few weeks ago, viewers got a glimpse of a lot of different DC characters, none more prominently featured than Michael Holt, otherwise known as Mr. Terrific. Fans of the DC animated universe are familiar with Mr. Terrific. However, most general moviegoers may not recognize this superhero, who has been a part of the DC comic book universe since January of 1942. There have been two Mr. Terrifics, one from the Golden Age named Terry Sloane, and the more well-known Michael Holt, who debuted in the modern age in 1997. Let's look back and see how these two heroes are connected from over 50 years of comic book history. Welcome back to the Comicverse, everyone. As promised, this week we'll dive into the origin stories of Mr. Terrific, and the only place to start is at the beginning. But before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. It really helps out the channel each and every week. In January of 1942, issue number 1 of DC's Sensation Comics was published featuring Wonder Woman. However, the book also contained a second feature written and drawn by Charles Reisenstein and Hal Sharp, debuting a brand new hero called Mr. Terrific. Red tights and mask, green jacket, yellow gloves, and a golden plaque attached to his torso that read, "Fair play." Mr. Terrific is presented as a man who is master of every art and every science. His real name, Terry Sloane, and even as a young boy, he was famous for being a child genius. He becomes known to the U.S. Navy because he submits his own blueprints for a new seaplane. The military dispatches an officer to Terry's home to discuss the designs, and when they are through, the naval officer is ambushed and beaten by spies. Terry sees this from his window. He jumps out, and being a master of athletics as well as science, he's able to knock out the two attackers. We then learn that being Terry can be lonely. His intelligence isolates him from normal children. His friends are mostly older people, and he lacks any sense of challenge in life. Terry graduates high school at age 11 and looks forward to college because for him, high school is like being in kindergarten. However, Terry is so smart his professors give him an honorary degree just after 1 year. Having finished his academics, he focuses on athletics, where he also excels, winning multiple track and field events in a row. Terry enters the business world and is quickly put in charge, succeeding and becoming a leader in the community. And although everyone envies him, internally, Terry is depressed, lonely, and sickened by his uneventful life. Even at parties, women fawn over him. Men congratulate him. Still, Terry feels incomplete. A friend then encourages Terry to make a change, to take a vacation and head home for a while. As Terry drives, he ponders the only thing in life that he believes he has never experienced: death. As he drives over a bridge, he thinks about just turning the wheel and flying off. Suddenly, he sees a woman who's getting ready to jump herself. She tells Terry to leave her alone, that she wants to die, and then she jumps. Terry forgets about his own intentions and jumps into the river to save the girl. Terry reaches her in time and pulls her ashore. Her name is Wanda Wilson, and she tells Terry that she has nothing to live for. Terry tells her that everyone has something to live for, but he thinks to himself that he's the exception to that statement. Wanda agrees to tell him her story. Ever since her mother died, she's been raising her brother Billy. However, Billy fell in with a bad crowd, a gang of hooligans as she called them. She thought it was just innocent fun at first, but then she found a gun in his room. And despite her warnings, Billy disobeys her and continues to pull jobs for the gang. Wanda follows him one night and confronts the man who is sending these kids to commit these crimes. The man tells her that there is nothing that she can do, and Billy will be the one who takes the rap in the end. Wanda finishes her story, giving the man's name as Big Shot. Terry tells her that he can help her, but she needs to go home now. Terry returns home and thinks that before he ends himself, he can have a little fun. Later that day, a mysterious figure dressed in red, green, and yellow appears inside the hangout of the Purple Dagger Club. He invites the kids to join up with him, but the gang tells him that they're with Big Shot and will not go with this new mysterious man. And our mysterious figure then tells the gang to follow him. He runs quickly to confront Big Shot, who has his entire crew attack the costume intruder. However, the costume intruder handles them all easily. The Purple Dagger gang is amazed at this display of combat. Neither knives nor guns are able to stop our new hero. Big Shot is revealed as the coward that he is, and our hero picks him up and brings him outside to give him a chance to be a stand-up guy and fight one-on-one in a fair fight. But Big Shot throws a knife. Our hero avoids it and knocks Big Shot down with one punch. The gang then tells our hero that Big Shot is also smart, so our hero forces Big Shot to do simple math, and he cannot. The gang puts a dunce cap on Big Shot and run him off, as our hero easily calculates the answer. The gang names their new boss Mr. Terrific, who demolishes their clubhouse and tells them that their new clubhouse will be ready tomorrow. Our last panel is Wanda visiting Terry and thanking him for whatever it is that he did to help Billy. And for Terry, he finally has something to live for, as he tells Wanda that even people who want to commit suicide can change their mind suddenly. Even though Mr. Terrific continued to be a superhero, he eventually retired. It would not be until 1997 in the publication of Volume 3 of The Spectre, issue number 54, where we find out Terry Sloane's ultimate fate. We begin with Michael Holt walking the streets at night, mourning his loss. His wife has died. A group of kids approach him, pull a gun, and demand his money. Michael asks them, "What if I don't care if you shoot me?" To which the young boy responds, "Then we'll shoot you anyway, and still steal your wallet." Just then another figure appears, a man in green, and tells the young man that it would be a bad idea to fire the gun. Scared, the young man fires at this new figure, but the bullets just move through the air. The man in green transforms into his real form, that of the Spectre, and tells the shooter that he has sinned, that he has murder in his heart, and that he must pay. And after dispatching the gang, the Spectre turns to Michael Holt, who, with self-murder in his heart, has now entered the province of the Spectre. Michael explains to the Spectre that despite all of his achievements in athletics and science, his wife was torn away in a car accident, and now he cannot think of a reason to live. The Spectre tells Michael that he reminds him of an old acquaintance, Terry Sloane, who also once stood on a bridge, who thought about ending it all, and was involved with taking on a gang of thugs. Terry's solution? To create a costume identity like the heroes of the day and battle for justice, calling himself Mr. Terrific. For a long time, Terry was a member of the Justice Society of America, but after the war, he retired from superhero duty. Years later, Terry would attend a reunion aboard the JLA satellite. There was sabotage, a blast went off, and they found Terry's body in the wreckage. But Terry was not killed by the blast, but strangled, therefore killed by one of the heroes on board. The JLA soon discovered that an old enemy of Terry's, the Spirit King, a being that can merge with any body and take it over, merged with Jay Garrick, the original Flash, and strangled Terry during the blast. But the JLA was unable to catch the Spirit King as he used the Speed Force to escape. Michael, at this point, is unsure what any of this has to do with him, but the Spectre tells him there's more to the story. Disguised in human form, the Spectre's attention is grabbed by Jay Garrick, running through the city shouting his name. Jay tells the Spectre that they need to talk, privately and fast. They go to the private chambers of the Justice Society of America. Garrick tells the Spectre everything that has happened on the JLA satellite. The Spectre tells Jay that the Spirit King is no longer present. Garrick tells the Spectre that the Spirit King allowed the Justice Society to catch him at Stonehenge, where the Spirit King left him, exhausted, and entered Power Girl's body and began laying waste to the JSA. Then, things got much worse. The Spirit King jumped from Power Girl to Alan Scott, Green Lantern to Dr. Fate, the worst possible outcome. Now, the Spirit King had the ability to defeat them all, but Jay was able to outrun the Spirit King's attack. The only option was to find the Spectre. For the Spectre, there's only one place to look, Dr. Fate's tower in Salem, the perfect place for a trap. The Spectre and the Flash enter Dr. Fate's tower to find the possessed Dr. Fate overseeing the torture of the JSA. Speaking through Dr. Fate, the Spirit King tells the Spectre that this was the plan all along, and that he has been expecting our spiritual hero. That even though he's already received the gift of killing Terry Sloane, the Spectre was always the real prize. Not that Terry doesn't still have his purpose. In that moment, the undead form of Terry Sloane rises to confront the Flash. The Spectre uses his powers to remove the helmet of Dr. Fate, leaving only Kent Nelson behind. But the Spirit King cannot be harmed by the Spectre because his province ends at the grave, a place the Spirit King has stepped way beyond. The Spirit King reveals that he's under the mastery of Shaitan, a powerful demon from hell. The plan to absorb the power of the Spectre, to claim it for the Netherworlds. But the Spectre tells them to first taste that power for themselves, and sends an awful blast towards the Spirit King. The Spirit King is unfazed. He's protected from any being from the living realm at this point. But unfortunately for him, the spirit of Terry Sloane arrives. The Flash continues to battle the undead Mr. Terrific, but the ethereal form of our Golden Age hero confronts his archenemy. Both the Flash and Mr. Terrific pummel their opponents, sending them through the portal of hell. Once inside, the Spectre seals that portal once more, leaving Shaitan no option but to travel back to the Netherworld. After this, Terry Sloane finally realized that he did belong, that he was worthy, that he did serve a true purpose. The JSA sent him off into eternity, wishing that he can now rest in peace. For Michael Holt, he sees how amazing of a story it was, but he's still not seeing the reason for being told. The Spectre tells Michael that when a person passes, there remains a void that needs to be filled. No one can be replaced, but the vacuum cannot remain. Terry Sloane's void cannot be filled by Batman, Superman, or even the Spectre, because Terry worked at the street level. He encouraged the kids to engage in fair play. There is a need for that kind of hero. Otherwise, the void will be filled by gangsters. The Spectre asks Michael, "You game?" A few moments later, the crew that first tried to rob Michael arrive empty-handed to their leader, who threatens to beat them with a baseball bat, but a voice interrupts and stops the violence. They all turn to see Michael, who announces himself as Mr. Terrific. The gang leader takes a swing at him, but Mr. Terrific handles him with a kick to the face. Another pulls a gun, but Michael, who is also holding a basketball, turns and tells him that he's not afraid to die, therefore he's not afraid of him. Mr. Terrific pushes the ball into his face and dribbles it on the lowlife's head, giving the kids a laugh at the same time. The older thugs then turn and run, but the Spectre arrives to claim them. Mr. Terrific tells his new friend to stop, that the Spectre should only claim those souls that have committed murder, and that these three have not done that yet. Therefore, they should be released. And if Terry Sloane was here, he would say the same thing. Mr. Terrific tells the Spectre that he will put his own soul on the line to help save others. But for the Spectre, the sins of these men must still lie with someone, and Mr. Terrific takes on their sins as well. The Spectre leaves, knowing that Mr. Terrific's actions will only help build his reputation as a new force for good on the streets and within the community. Thus ends the story of how the spirit of Terry Sloane traversed the years to help create his own replacement at the turn of the 20th century. Michael Holt will forever now be known as Mr. Terrific. It will be interesting to see how Mr. Terrific will factor into the upcoming Superman film when it releases this July. Obviously, he's a hero, but exactly how will he view Superman? And will they come into conflict with each other, or become allies to take on a common enemy? Only time will tell. I hope you've enjoyed this look back at the comic book history of Terry Sloane and Michael Holt, Mr. Terrific. If you need more comic book fun, click on the thumbnails at the end of the video for a look back at METAMORPHO and the rest of our Welcome to the Comicverse playlist. I thank you for watching, and until next time, as always, remember I'm still your reluctant gringo, and from somewhere south of the border, salud and a huevo.